This episode is brought to you by ExpressVPN and Blue Chew. Stay tuned for more information later in the show.
Hello and welcome to the Death Battle Cast. We are the cast and crew of Death Battle. Thank you for joining us. This is going to be a big episode. We have a lot to cover today. I'm Ben. I'm the voice of Wiz. To my left over here, right on screen, whatever, is Luis, animator.
Hey guys, everybody.
Is the lead animator for Danny Phantom versus Jake Long, which came out 2 weeks ago, a week ago, whenever it came out. We will be doing a Q&A for that episode.
There's no concept of time in quarantine.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We're all losing track of it every single day. Sometimes I don't even remember what day it is. Below him is
It's me. I'm Chad.
Sam.
Hi.
Oh, I was going
below
Sam.
him. Damn it.
Oh, yeah, sure.
That's
I
fine.
thought you said below him. Well, never mind. It's me, Sam. I'm the oldest, grumpiest one of the bunch. Let's go to the next one. Chad, you're up.
He's not the oldest, but I'll take it. I'm Chad. I play Boomstick.
In spirit. We all know Sam is the
Oh,
oldest.
for sure.
of us all.
100%.
I thought you meant that he played Boomstick in spirit. You know, like, okay.
Sam's been old since he's 19.
No, one day we probably will make a Death Battle character that's just like I always wanted. What's the characters in the Muppets? The old men on the balcony.
Yeah,
just
Statler and
heckle?
Waldorf or whatever.
Whenever we have the Death Battle version of Statler and Waldorf, like I'm one of those motherfuckers, no doubt. Like I'm just gonna be up there, like, and your leg is stupid, and that's all I got for the whole year. More like super stupid powers, and then we're out. Like that's every episode.
I imagine we've talked a bit about Boomstick's like parents and things like that. Maybe Wiz's dad or grandfather is kind of like that. He's just the exact opposite of Wiz in every way. Okay, so like I said, we have a lot to cover today. We are discussing the Q&A for Danny Phantom versus Jake Long, and we'll be chatting about the animation as well, since we have the lead animator here. If you missed last week's episode, we had Butch Hartman, the creator of Danny Phantom, on, which was fascinating.
Really fun. Oh, yeah.
Frankly, it was really good to have him on. It worked out really well. He was a really chill dude.
He was great. Also,
it was a little weird, the experience of like having like a not like internal person on the thing. Like for instance, I think I got these glasses and but you can't talk about like dumb shit. Like right when Butch was here, I wasn't gonna say like super stupid shit. I was gonna be like, hey Butch, what do you think about new glasses and shit? Like we had you kept it on rails, but it was very fun. He was a really, really, really nice guy.
But that said, we had a lot of fun in the post show. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, or if you're watching on the site but you don't have a first membership, we do have a post show that we do that's just for first members. If you've never signed up before, you can get a first membership trial and check it out. I highly recommend it. It was a lot of fun because I feel like we had fun on the episode and but like you said, Ben, it was very, very fascinating. But when the post show, I don't know, we kind of cut loose a bit more and we were all just joking around about matchups and stuff, and it was really fun.
Yeah, definitely check out Sudden Death if you haven't. Crossover 4 does mention in the chat a piece of Death Battle lore that I actually forgot. Wiz's dad is dead, so we can't. I mean, he can bring him back to life, right?
No. Wiz's mom just starts dating someone new. She got remarried. That's
There we go. Wiz is inspired by his dad, but then the new dad is they got a strained relationship. It doesn't work out very well.
But they got to get
And then
along.
Boomstick would love him.
Oh my god. Yeah.
You're doing your science nerd stuff again? This guy's great.
So we'll be discussing Danny Phantom, Jake Long. We also have a sneak peek for the upcoming Death Battle, She-Ra versus Wonder Woman, which we'll be getting to later on in the show. And of course, DBX is coming back.
very much so is.
Woo!
Yeah.
Oh, is this when we play the thing?
No, this is when we go to the void. The DBX emerges from.
No.
Welcome to the void.
Okay,
Oh, here we go.
Apparently, I found a worthy foe.
Oh, look, a Dragon Ball character. A show must be returning.
Surprise! Death Battle isn't ending. So June 3rd, June 2nd on Rooster Teeth for first members, and June 3rd on YouTube will be the dates where DBX season 5 begins. Right, Sam? This is season 5.
You sounded so confident. Season 5.
I'm gonna say this is season 2 of the new DBX, right? Like,
right,
yeah.
This is season 2 of new DBX. It's technically season 5 of DBX, but this is season 2 of like new DBX.
Do we split them up? Is there like
Coke Classic?
There's like classic DBX and Ringmaster DBX, basically. Yeah.
But this is season 2, the new good. And this was really cool. Like, as you can see in that, we got some stuff. I'm gonna post the fight because we're like last year we're gonna do the same thing where we had people vote on the episode. So we're gonna do like the polls again, and you're gonna be able to vote to see who the winner of the match is, like DBX has always been. And so that will go up here. The first match is going to be actually to the character you saw on there, Vegeta versus Thor, which is pretty exciting. And that one's done by the Source Filmmaker guys again, which they've done a fantastic job. And the poll will be
And what
up
a
on
perfect
Twitter
time to have a first membership, because then you can also go watch the alternate ending.
Actually, extra fun. This year, all the alternate endings will just be public to everybody just get on Rooster Teeth and go watch them.
Well, never mind.
But still get the first.
You get to see them first.
You can still support us.
Yeah, you still support us. I got OnlyFans now. Yeah, hit me up. No, I'm kidding. But I have been toying with the idea. I'm sure someone's already done it, but starting an OnlyFans that just is like pictures of nice like fans, like ceiling fans, box fans, shit like that. Like,
dude,
OnlyFans.
Why are you saying that on the live stream, man? You can't take that back. That's out there now.
I mean, I'm gonna go start an OnlyFans for that now. I should stop talking about it. I'm gonna start writing triplets at the same time too while we do this, because that is a funny idea. Motherfuckers probably hit me up with $2, right?
That
probably
is kind of brilliant. Oh, there you go.
Did Greg Miller recently start one? Anyway,
can you still hear me? Okay,
yes, we can. I don't know what happened there.
Cody banished him to the void.
I mean, he's busy making his OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Of fans.
Oh my god, I've never been to this website, but it looks spicy.
You know
what is this about?
Man.
Login.
I love if we had a transition that was like just going into the Phantom Zone. Like Sam was like, and then it went and just like spun off.
And then it's just replaced by a fan. It's perfect.
Yeah, perfect. He's all right. Literally.
There we go.
How you do that?
Okay, Luis, who is an animator, was just blown away by you spinning the brain.
You can do that live? That's crazy.
God.
All right. Well, while Sam is setting up his OnlyFans fan account of fans, let's go ahead and jump into the Danny Phantom versus Jake Long Q&A real quick. Sam or Chad, you want to read the questions? Whoever's available for that.
Well, that would have been Sam,
busy,
but he's setting up his OnlyFans apparently.
Yeah. You want?
So
me
Chad, you're up.
Well, I don't have the sheet up, so that'll take a moment.
Yeah. I'm putting the fucking OnlyFans on the side burner. Somebody's already gonna do this by the time. Anyways,
nobody steals Sam's idea.
So real quick, we'll knock out the spoiler warning. Guess what? We're gonna spoil the fucking fight. If you didn't guess that, that's wild. Question 1. When Butch Hartman reached out, did you change the verdict so Danny would win the fight? Or was it already decided? Yeah, cool question.
Easy one off the top. So yes, spoilers, Danny won. If you haven't actually watched the episode, you can still watch it. It's still fun.
Yeah.
So easy one, no, of course. Butch Hartman reaching out, while we weren't expecting it, it did not have any effect in the fight. Actually, the victor was determined way back in early, like the first week of March. So not even a factor. That's it. Easy answer.
But we would never do that. But also, like, animation takes a while. It's not like we're like, hey, here's the next fight, and then it's like, oh, cool. Well, change everything.
Which is why, like, when I heard that Butch Hartman was like watching the episode, I was like, oh god, the episode's already done. I can't make Danny look even better than it already has. It already looked. Like, I hope he likes it. I hope he really likes it.
Wait,
so like,
did I spend enough time on that animation? Oh God,
Yeah,
wait, does Danny even win?
Yeah.
You sometimes
Yeah,
forget
exactly.
that kind of stuff as well. So like, because like when that episode was announced, we were already working on DBS. So like, so it's like one of those things where like, wait a second, how did Danny win again? Oh God, did it look cool? I hope it did.
Yeah. Did you watch
Question-
his reaction video, Luis?
I did, of course I did. I was like,
That was
you know, like I as I was growing up, I used to watch it. Like, you know, Very Odd Parents, Danny Phantom, and all that stuff. And like, it's crazy to think that something that I worked on, it's being watched by someone who actually, you know, like shaped my childhood in a sense. So like with all these like amazing cartoons. So that was like pretty crazy.
Cypher04 in the
though.
chat. I see you. Don't steal Sam's idea. He's
Don't do
working
it.
on it right now.
Don't do it. Come on. To be fair, though, Sam should have known better than to just toss that out there while we're live.
You're not wrong, Chad. You're not wrong.
He's
I'll
taking
tell you
care of it. It's all right.
He just, I got it, Sam. I got the questions up. You can go back to creating your OnlyFans.
Sorry. So I was doing both. It is onlyfans.com. Oh shit, it went away. Let me get this right.
Wait, do you have it already?
Yeah, dog.
Nice.
But Sam, what you got to do is
I'm making my first post.
When you're seeing this live, everybody, the creation
there
of
you
the
go.
next big thing.
what is it? Where do people go to sign up?
What's
We're gonna get in
what's
trouble.
the address?
We're gonna get in trouble for this.
Are we gonna get in trouble? Like, it's like we can post our Twitter. How would we get in trouble? It's
If you start making
It's
money,
literally it's OnlyFans. It's
on this show?
onlyfans.com /actual OnlyFans.
Actual OnlyFans.
Like, I'm fucking on it, y'all. Get it. Maybe it's first
Yeah,
it's
please,
just a nice looking fan, hot fan, y'all.
please.
All right.
All
right.
It should have been a space heater fan, and then it could have been a real hot fan. Fuck, God, these are bangers. Just missing them. I'm like 1 second off today. Anyways, sorry, we can get back to the real shit. How do I monetize this? I don't. We'll figure it out later.
That's the real shit. How do I monetize? How do I get money off of fans?
Is it?
They are
Question
suggesting
two.
to people on this. This is not like
Is it-
Twitter.
Is it fair to say Danny is tough enough to survive the fire breath of Dorothea and Aragon, since he used his ecto energy to block it?
Yeah, I saw a couple of people wondering about this, and I think this is a general topic we haven't really covered a whole lot. How we gauge durability, like survivability, things like that. So some people will associate that concept to just an attack hitting a person's body. That is their durability. But like, we have to look at it in a broader sense. We look at weapons, armor, and skills. We have to look at their entire defensive options. So Danny using shields counts as a defensive option. So if he's able to block something with a shield, that still counts as a defensive option. We're not just looking at how much force can a character take on their own physical body. And of course, with Danny, he's also intangible. He can just turn intangible. So like that, it's also a little tricky to like figure out the exact numbers and whatnot of what he's capable of surviving. But that is the best example we could get as to something that his shields were able to hold up against, and he was able to survive because of that, despite it being the most powerful thing, one of the most powerful things in the entire Danny Phantom series. Simple as that.
Cool. Question 3. Your calculation for Danny's golf course feat is incorrect. I ran your numbers
Dun,
myself,
dun, dun.
and to disperse that much dirt came to less than half that amount of power.
Yeah, so this is something we probably should have included in the calcs on screen, is that we are specifically using vaporization, not displacement. So when we're calculating something like destroying a wall or creating a crater, there are a couple different ways to essentially categorize these sorts of feats in terms of destructive capability. Do they displace the environment, just push it aside? Do they pulverize it, which is break it apart so it's in chunks? Or is it vaporized, just disintegrated? It just goes away. Like, obviously I'm simplifying it a lot by just breaking it down to those three things, but that's a good general way to look at it. And so as we were looking at the golf course feat, the dirt and the stone that Danny kamehameha'd away is just gone. It's not visible. And there's smoke trails coming off of it. So based on that evidence, we had to associate that as a vaporization feat, not a displacement or pulverization. So that's why we got such a massive number for it, because vaporizing like dirt and stone takes a lot of power. A hell of a lot of power. So that's why we got such a large number. I think it was like 555 tons of TNT or something like that.
Before we go on, let me tell you about our sponsor today, ExpressVPN. See, today we're using our internet more than ever, so it's more important than ever to make sure you're protected. And ExpressVPN is a great tool for that. But that's not as interesting as watching awesome shows. So let me tell you what else ExpressVPN can do for you. ExpressVPN can let you watch video libraries from other sources that you might not have access to in the country you live in. For example, in the great states of America, we don't get like Ghibli films on Netflix, so like Spirited Away and stuff. But if you have a VPN, you can go ahead and watch those on the Japanese Netflix. And there's a whole bunch of little hacks like that. I mean, UK Netflix has like all of Doctor Who, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, there's just a lot of options to watch it. It's not just that. You can do a lot of cool stuff. Like, for example, if you VPN to California, there's a lot of the states you must be able to like end any subscription or terminate it via the internet rather than calling them. So if you have like a gym membership that they're giving you like a ton of grief about canceling or something like that because you can't even go there anymore right now, you can typically, if it's a national chain, you can VPN over to California, go on their website, boom, just cancel it like that, and you're done and you're out. It's really cool. VPNs have tons of uses, but you just like top 10, top 2, security, and binging those good shows that other countries have. So how do you do this? Well, you visit our special link by going to expressvpn.com/dbc. You get an extra 3 free months of ExpressVPN for free by doing that. So support the show, watch what you want, and protect yourself with ExpressVPN at expressvpn.com/dbc. So yeah, go do that and enjoy, because it's a great service.
Question 4. You called the mother of all bombs a nuke, but it's actually not nuclear.
That's true. We had a little misnomer there. We called the MOAB a nuke. It's actually the most powerful non-nuclear bomb. So that's our bad. Just a little mislabeling there. But thanks for calling us on that.
Yeah, it's explosive capabilities, etc. were all listed correctly. It was just that,
Yeah, the actual numbers and what we were comparing it to were fine. It was just a slight mislabeling, essentially, which is obviously a problem. We need to make sure that we've got the correct information. So I wanted to make sure we clarified that here.
Let's be real here. We juggle a lot of information and have talked about a million things over a long time. And like having one little, we try obviously not to have anything like that, but yeah, we're people. Yep. Question number 5. You mentioned that Jake's grandpa taught him martial arts, but didn't go into much detail. Shouldn't that training be more important?
So this is something that I really pushed with a research team to like try to figure out more information on. Unfortunately, there isn't a lot of information. It's more so implied than just like outright explored that Lao Shi teaches him martial arts. He knows martial arts. They kind of discuss it a little bit. Jake uses some throws and chops that could be considered like jujitsu or karate or something. But there's just not a whole lot of information about exactly what he's using or what he's been taught. In fact, Lao Shi typically, he mainly teaches him how to be a dragon. Like that's the main thing that he's teaching him. So we just have to assume that martial arts is included in some way, but it's not like the main thing. So there's not enough information to base an argument around, essentially. It's there in a capacity that can be said like, yes, he's been trained in a way that Danny has not. So that is an advantage technically, but it's not a big enough advantage or a clear enough advantage for us to use it to say, yes, he could beat Danny in this circumstance. That's essentially it.
Got it. And let's be real. Like, we love talking about martial arts and their like styles and giving you the information. Like, even when it's not outright said, we usually then try and compare it to real life martial arts. So this one was just too vague to really.
One of my favorite things to do. since the beginning of Death Battle is analyze a character's fighting style and try to figure out what kind of martial arts they're actually using. I've learned a lot more about martial arts for this show than I ever thought I ever would, which is really cool. But
just Ben has actually gone out and gotten a black belt in every martial art.
I've learned a lot about martial arts without actually doing it myself. Yeah, but sometimes it's just so nebulous and doesn't actually follow specific like styles. So we're just not really able to lock down a specific style or really use it to any sort of. If it's not a specific like, sometimes it's just not important to really lock down what kind of style they're using, especially if it's clear that it's not one specific style anyway, and they're just using kind of a mishmash of different potential styles, which is what Jake is doing.
All right. Question 6. Why did you guys gloss over Danny's most powerful attack, the Ghostly Whale? Could that have been enough to take out Jake?
Oh, Luis, you would actually know about this. In the initially, I wanted to really emphasize the Ghostly Whale. So, like in the animation, the original plan was to have when he uses it, it just like destroys part of the city, like glass shatters and buildings are crumbling and things like that. It was going to be this massive moment.
Right. It was just one of those things that was a matter of time, basically. We had other projects to move on to. We had to work on DBX and get started on the next half of that battle. We just like we ran out of time. We couldn't like do that, but the plan was to add more
destruction.
After destruction and emphasis on the actual attack. But the effects are still like there. Like it was like the actual battle damage that would happen to Jake was still part of that of the fight. It's just the impact didn't feel as much as we wanted it to.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a little bit about how every episode of Death Battle has to have something trimmed or adjusted on the fly as we're working on it, because that's just the nature of a show like this. Like, we don't have infinite budget or infinite time, especially if we want to make episodes throughout the whole year. Even with being part of Rooster Teeth Animation, we have to prioritize certain things. And the Ghostly Whale was something that like I really wanted to emphasize and to make a really big moment out of. But at the same time, it wasn't super important to this fight in and of itself, mainly because technically Jake could just avoid it. It's not an attack that could outright just guarantee a win, even though it is incredibly powerful and could potentially take out Jake if it hits. Jake is fast enough to dodge it.
And even then, like, the fact that only that part was the part that ended up like not being like completely how we wanted it to be, it's still like I still think it's really good in a sense.
Luis,
you know what I mean? Because like,
is your cat there? The chat is going on and on about a cat.
A cat?
Did your cat show up? I
think my cat just walked by. That's probably why.
I also had to do a cat check when you said that. I'm like, is she in here?
Like, we need a. Well, next time your cat comes back, we need a cat cam.
Yeah.
Dude,
cat cam?
Yeah.
The chat is just obsessed with the cat now and needs to find the cat.
No, the cat is all the way over there. Like, it's just fine. Don't worry about it. It's not going to come back in a while.
Dude, my cat has been like glued to me lately. She will not leave me alone. Like the moment I sit down, she's right there next to me, just staring at me. And then I'm like, what? And she starts meowing, and then I'll like pet her, and then she'll follow me forever. Anyway.
All right, one last question.
Jake can hurt ghosts in his world because they're both magical creatures. Since Danny isn't a magical creature, doesn't that mean Jake shouldn't be able to harm him at all?
So possible, but unlikely. We talked about this during research as well. The idea being that the ghosts in American Dragon are magic and the ghosts in Danny Phantom are scientific. Frankly, I don't think there's enough evidence to say that there's a huge difference between the two, generally speaking. Like, no, at no point in Danny Phantom do they outright say like, hey, these ghosts are powered by magic. But it's also a little weird to say that they're entirely scientific based. I think that idea mostly comes from how the ghosts are dealt with, which uses the Fenton technology and things like that. But at the same time, magic does exist in Danny Phantom. And big examples are the Amulet of Aragon and the Scepter that Freak Show has, both of which affect ghosts. So there you go. Magic can affect ghosts in the Danny Phantom world. Therefore, Jake's magic powers should be able to affect Danny as well. That's essentially the rabbit trail that we went through for that. I mean, it's always tricky, right? Like comparing different universes and the rules in different universes to each other to see, like, well, could this technically apply to this one and whatnot? We had a whole discussion on this when we talked about Kakashi versus a Kenobi, Force versus Chakra, things like that. But in this case, I figured there was enough evidence to say, like, yeah, it should be able to still apply, to just go with that. And luckily, Danny wins, so it doesn't end up being a major factor anyway, because if it was a major factor, then we would have to figure out like a 100% guarantee that Jake's magic could affect him, which I think there is enough evidence for, but we would have to like dedicate a whole part of the episode essentially to discussing. And that covers that, I think. Luis, we didn't have you on last episode, and I just wanted to chat about the animation real quick before getting into our preview or our sneak peek for sure, Wonder Woman. This episode is a little different from usual in how the sprites, quote unquote, were made. You want to talk a little bit about that? Yeah,
for sure. Basically, everything for this episode was made in-house. Like we got the 2D department involved in this episode to make the sprites for it, which is really impressive since they've never done anything like this before. So the process to get to a point where we have the characters in sprite form was we actually had to make the character sheets in very high resolution, and then we had to turn that down into sprites. Like it was an entire process, and we kind of started experimenting with that kind of stuff as a grade depth, but not to this level. And the amount of different hand pieces, mouthpieces, and all this stuff that we went through to get to the final product was pretty amazing, and really excited to be able to do stuff like that in the future, for future fights in Death Battle.
In fact, I believe we can't spoil it, but I believe a DBX is using a similar technique as well.
Yeah.
So definitely look forward to that one.
And it's like I think, in my opinion, I think those sprites are even more higher quality than the ones that we had. Like it's just a thing where we're now that we discovered this new way of making animations, it's just gonna keep increasing quality with every episode, which is kind of like what we always have done. Like whenever we discover something new, we then grab that and try to perfect it, and then move on to a new way of making things, and just kind of keep on building a library of different skills and ways to do things differently that I think benefits that battle a lot.
Kozat in the chat is asking something that I did want to cover as well. How come you guys didn't hand draw this fight and instead chose to hand draw Genos versus War Machine? And that's an interesting point, because similar to what Luis was just talking about, we very much, as part of the Rooster Teeth workforce pipeline environment thing, Death Battle, and even before Rooster Teeth, when we were Screw Attack, Death Battle has always kind of served as a experimental and development sort of show where we come up with new strategies and try new things. Like Unreal, for example. Death Battle was the first Rooster Teeth project to use Unreal Engine, and that was very much everybody at Rooster Teeth going, hey, we want to use Unreal, but how do we figure out how to use it? And then us at Death Battle going we can do that. Let's do it. We'll figure it out. And then diving head first into it. And so Genos versus War Machine was very much a decision to sort of see if we could, if the animation department could kind of make something that they've never made before. An anime style fight scene. And that was essentially the idea there. This is the fight we mentioned before. that there was a fight for this season that was like the obvious go-to. Like, oh, if there's an obvious go-to episode this year that the 2D animated team would probably be great at, but we wanted to try to like push them further. This was the one. Danny Phantom versus Jake Long was the one that we initially were like, obviously they're going to work on this one, but we wanted to explore their anime fight scene ability as well as this new concept of building puppet sprites through the 2D art department. So that's essentially the idea there, what was going on. And again, like Luis
and I bet
said,
they all got so disappointed when Butch was like got in about it. They're all like, "Ah, man." Like,
maybe. I mean, we can't plan for that exactly, right?
Of course not.
But
I'm not disappointed.
We very much use Death Battle to. We very much have always used Death Battle to push ourselves as well. Like Luis was saying, every time we start developing a new idea, and frankly, just with every episode of Death Battle, it's important to me and the rest of these guys to make sure that we are improving in some way, changing our strategy moving forward.
Like sneak peek, you'll see later in this episode is a good example of always pushing ourselves as well.
Dude, it looks so good.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's the thing about Death Battle. I feel like the show works best when we're always like continuing to set the bar higher and higher. I think that's the best way that we can improve the show, but also keep it very interesting.
Yeah, and honestly, one of the reasons we're able to experiment is because every fight is so different. It's not like, for example, like Ruby, who has very, very specific look, right? And you change something like going to Unreal or something like that, and it has it's noticeable. Whereas for us, every episode looks completely different. We juggle all different types of animation and styles, and so that makes it really easy for us to experiment.
Yeah, which I mean has its own it has a lot of benefits, a few drawbacks. It is very interesting, especially now having worked I've been working on some like ancillary Ruby shit. And it is so much different working on like a narrative show with like all these things super set in stone. Like it's really cool from like aspects of like, they have specific ways that like characters are given names and stuff. And like for us, we're just like, it's such a different show that you're able to like do so much with. Like you have none of those limitations. So it's not like, okay, well, we have to look at doing this and doing it within this style. It's like, no, we're Death Battle. Like this one could be 3D, it could be 2D. Like the second 4D animation comes out, we're gonna have a 4D fight. Like we're doing whatever the fuck we want on like that side of it, and it's really fun to be able to play like that much within our own show while still
amazing how
like,
much
this consistent thing.
It's amazing how much freedom we have as a show.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, most of the lore for Was in Boomstick, we just say in the booth, like. Yep. Whereas like there's like a lore guide to Ruby and shit that like has to be referenced. Yeah,
that's what I
double
mean.
Check.
Like, Death Battle does not have a show Bible. We just make it up as we go.
Right. Dude, I mean, our show Bible is the Death Battle wiki that people have put together and have taken seriously all the dumb shit that we've said.
I mean, we still have like way less retcons than DC, but
we haven't had our our Crisis of Infinite Worlds just yet.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of increasing quality, let's go ahead and talk about what is going on.
Before we get any further, a word from our sponsors. This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. So let's talk about something we could all use a little bit more of right now. Sex. Specifically, great sex. And Blue Chew can help you with that. So if you ever wanted to increase your performance or get a little bit of extra confidence in bed, listen up, because BlueChew.com has got a product for you. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. You can take them anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach, and since they're chewable, they work up to twice as fast as a pill. So you can be ready whenever an opportunity arises. Unless it arises, we're going to do a funny boner joke. Blue Chew is made in the USA and prescribed online by licensed physicians, so you don't have to go to the doctor or wait in line. It's even cheaper than a pharmacy, and they prepare and ship it right to you in a discreet package. No awkwardness, no leaving the house, no breaking your social distancing, just good old internets. If you could benefit from some more confidence where it counts, Blue Chew is the fast and easy way to enhance your performance. Right now, we've got a special deal for our listeners. Visit BlueChew.com and get your first shipment free. All you got to do is pay $5 for shipping you get for free, and you do that by using the special promo code DBC. Again, that's BlueChew, blue like the color, BLUE, chew.com, promo code DBC. It's easy, and you get to try it for free. Blue Chew is a better, cheaper, faster choice, and we thank them for sponsoring the podcast. Like you guys know, we wouldn't really have a podcast if we didn't have sponsors, and those sponsors obviously do it because they would like your support. So just do us a favor, do them a favor. Check out BlueChew.com if you think it might be something that fits into your life. So go to BlueChew.com, promo code DBC, check it out. On with the show. I didn't
the
even know
next
you were
episode
calling
of
for that
talking.
transition. It was just so I had no clue you were calling for it because you're like, let's see what is going on. I was like,
You're like,
What?
what's going on?
oh,
You know, I like doing that.
I was
half
waiting
sentence
for
thing.
yeah.
And then I just
What's going on?
I just lost my well, whatever. So next
either.
time on Death Battle, we are
Next
doing
time
for episode
on
10.
Death
Next time on Death Battle,
Yeah.
She-Ra
Yeah.
versus Wonder Woman, and
Episode 10. This is the first one I've wrote. This is the first one I wrote in a long time. I believe
a writer,
I always
everybody.
say that.
Wow, I know,
Yeah,
right?
written.
Right? I'm
Writing?
killing it right out of the gate. Yeah, this is the first
I
one
put
I've
them
written
words
in a long
down.
time. Yeah, not well. But yeah, it was fun to do, and you know, it is. The fight is fucking incredible. I think the episode as a whole is a very, very good episode. I think it's going to be one of the more hype episodes we've had in a long time, but the fight is like the absolute top notch. Like, I don't want to overhype it, but I do think
Well,
this is the best fight.
let's
we've
go ahead
ever
and
made.
let them
Sorry, Louis.
judge for themselves as we have a sneak peek to show off. So let's go ahead and bring that up. No, you guys have been waiting for it.
Zeus, Heracles, Hippolyta, give me strength.
For the honor of Grayskull, I am She-Ra!
Compared to an Amazon like me, you're just playing dress up.
You are strong, Amazon, but no match for a princess of power.
Get over yourself.
Yeah,
I love
it's going to
that.
be pretty cool.
Oh, I'm so excited. I love that shot where she's just like, nah. Filler. So good.
Yeah.
Also, we got waterfalls and shit now. Do you see that in the beginning?
Yeah,
Like-
yeah.
That's the power on Real.
First, yeah, shout out to Christina and her team. They've done an excellent job. And yeah, some people might notice the environment they're playing in looks kind of familiar. It is familiar if you ever played the game Paragon. Because Epic Games put out, that's like an incredibly pretty Unreal game. And Epic, like after that game went under, they were just like, here's literally millions of dollars of assets. And I was like, yeah, we're gonna be using these. Like, come here, like, so there's some Paragon assets in that mug, and it really helps. Like when you have a AAA company default millions of dollars of assets to you, it looks cool as shit when you use them. Sometimes it's wild, but that's how it works. Like, it was a real good come up for us for sure.
Yeah, the team has done a really good job putting this fight together. I'm really impressed by how well animation is done, Viz Post is done. Just, man, there's some really cool effects later on in the fight. So I did want to clarify one thing, because we've been getting a lot of questions on how we are analyzing She-Ra. Like, what sources are we using? Because there are, generally speaking, three main sources to pull from. The original 1985 show, the comic books, which have kind of come and gone throughout the years, and then the new Netflix show. And as always, with Death Battle, we pick a primary source, and then we use other sources as supplemental sources. So in this case, we were picking with the classic She-Ra, because that's generally the one that I believe most people are thinking of when they've requested this matchup. And this matchup has been requested for a very long time, well before the Netflix show started up.
Right.
But that does also mean that the comics should be able to be applied as supplemental sources, supporting evidence, because most of those comics generally have the same like backstory and powers and things like that for She-Ra. Again, the idea being that the supplemental evidence is using the same character in a different story. So realistically, they should be able to be doing all the same things. And it really helps when the main series, the main source, is a little like nebulous and weird sometimes with its powers and feats and stuff, like classic She-Ra might be, given that the animation was super cheap and very stilted and old, right? Power Rangers is a very good example of this.
The fucking He-Man just magicking that chain back together. Still one of my favorite moments.
Yeah,
Like, what the...
She-Ra,
Seriously, if you watch these shows, like, what the fuck is happening half the time?
It's like,
yeah,
they didn't want to animate
She-Ra
him like
has no
bending a
loss to
link,
that
and they're
now.
like, "We'll just touch them together and have it glow." And it's like, what?
They were just trying to sell toys, guys. They had like a $5 budget on every episode.
Do you still remember the scene where Skeletor goes through a mirror and then punches the mirror from the other side?
Yeah.
And then breaks it? It's amazing.
Yeah, there's some wonky moments in the old school cartoon, but that also does mean that we have to analyze these like really weird, like alien, unexplainable moments as well, which I think turns She-Ra versus Wonder Woman into a really interesting matchup, because we're basically pitting Wonder Woman is one of the top tier, DC characters, right? She's got ridiculous feats. But She-Ra might just have ridiculous feats just because of how absurd the animation is.
it's not a might. She-Ra's got some buck wild shit. Like Hanna-Barbera cartoons are insane.
Yep.
Yes.
The way they do, yeah. Like I mean, yeah. I don't want to spoil like any of the feats and stuff from it, but Jesus, the stuff they do is insane. When they're literally just like, I'm gonna hit meteors like they're baseballs and shit. Like it's
Right.
wild. Like
I'll
they
just
do
lift this
Well-
castle or something. It's just
Yeah,
like,
here's a fun one that doesn't necessarily spoil anything, but we mentioned it in the full episode. She just closes up a canyon. She just takes one side of the canyon and just closes it up.
Shit,
Sure.
What the fuck is that? Like,
Okay. So as far as the Netflix She-Ra goes, Netflix She-Ra is too different from classic She-Ra. They're in particular, her power set and the source of her powers is so wildly different, especially if you've seen the latest season. It kind of has a big reveal of where the powers come from. That's kind of like the big climax. I don't want to spoil anything because it's really good. And y'all should really watch the Netflix She-Ra if you haven't, because it's really good. But it does.
Kira just started watching it again.
yeah,
It's
and also
fantastic.
just for clarity on, in case people have any more questions of like, oh well, like newer She-Ra, older She-Ra, this was written 6 months ago or something like that, before the most recent season even came out. So we didn't even have that much stuff. Like, yeah, it was just so the clarity on that is like we were looking a lot at old She-Ra, because old She-Ra is what people want to see. I think even though all of us are in agreement, new She-Ra is a pretty great show.
Yeah, I mean, with the final season, guys, like I think
caught
new
up
She-Ra
on
is
the
like
final season yet, because like
the
I
final
said,
season
like,
is so good.
Yeah,
It's really
When I
fantastic.
wrote this, despite us not really focusing on that, I still wanted to know about it. So like I caught up on She-Ra, but that was before this newest season had come out. So like I don't know anything about the new season.
Yeah, no spoilers in the chat. New season is fantastic. Personally, I think that the show comes close, if not reaches the same level as a show like Avatar: Last Airbender in terms of writing and just structure. It's really fantastic.
That
So
is
definitely give it a check.
Yeah, that's some serious praise.
Especially the latter half, like it gets really good, but it's all set up for that latter half. So you have to like, I'm kind of wanting to go back and visit like the early seasons where it didn't necessarily feel like it was reaching that potential, but like it was all setting up for it. So it's I don't know. I can't praise that show enough because I think it's beautiful. But anyway, She-Ra versus Wonder Woman will be coming out next week, this Sunday for first members, and then the following Monday on YouTube. Hope you guys like it. I think the team has done a fantastic job putting it together. With that, we have a DBX to talk about as well, but let's go ahead and first talk about the community death battle.
Hey, PSA. Rooster Teeth is partnering with the Stronger Than You Think campaign to raise money and awareness for the National Alliance on Mental Illness and One Mind. So, why is it important? Well, many people are experiencing more mental health concerns than ever, kind of maybe due to the whole pandemic, who knows? But it is always been and will always continue to be important, mental health that is. So, we're here to help raise awareness and bring to light some of the better things these companies do. So, what does NAMI do? NAMI provides education on mental health and the impact policy, influence lawmakers to make strides to protect mental health. They provide free helpline as a resource to anyone, and they are leaders in raising awareness and erasing the stigma around mental health. And One Mind helps provide with brain illness and injury recovery so they can succeed in lives, after a serious injury. So yeah, those are two great companies that we're partnering with in the Stronger Than You Think campaign to help raise some money and awareness. You can check out some links below and get to know them both. And remember, you're not alone in this. It's important to check in on each other and our community. So check in on yourself, check in on your friends, and just know that you're not alone and you can get help if you need it. Anyways, we can go back to it now. Bye.
All right. So last week with Butch Hartman, we decided on Crimson Chin versus the Tick with their sidekicks.
Oh, there's the cat. There. Oh, wait, that way. There's the cat.
Oh, that's why. I was like, why are we just full frame?
It's a cat butt.
There it went.
Their cat's gone.
All right, yeah. The Tick
All right,
and
bye,
Arthur
cat.
versus Crimson Chin and Clef the Boy Wonder.
Yes.
The Boy Chin Wonder, sorry.
So, as always, with Community Death Battle, we leave it up to you guys to let us know who you think should win and why using hashtag DeathBattleCast on Twitter. So let's go ahead and bring up the answer for the Crimson Chin.
All right. Kevin says, given that this is a tag team, Cleft has far more tools and gadgets in his utility Cleft to back Chin up, as well as take Arthur by himself if he needs to. Okay? I mean, that was something Butch brought up too. He's like, remember, he does have the utility Cleft, so there's a lot of stuff in there.
The utility clef has a buck wild amount of things. Through the tiny, minuscule amount of research I did on this, it seems like the utility clef is like hammer space of whatever.
It's like
you need
context
kind of
sensitive,
Yeah.
like whatever you need.
Yes. But let's go ahead and bring up the answer for the Tick and see if there's something that counters that.
Alexander, aka Ducko, says the Tick is almost infinitely strong and durable. He's survived being knocked into orbit as well as the event horizon of a black hole. I don't remember. Like, that's the thing. Like about the Tick, it's almost like he's not on this level, but it's like almost if they were like, what if we made Superman an idiot and a joke character? Like. Because like I don't remember the Tick ever getting hurt. It was more just like he had to figure out how to solve a problem, but he would get like thrown through like a bajillion buildings and be like, "Oh, that sucks. That didn't work." Like,
that's true. That's true. I mean,
I haven't seen the live action show though, but
I didn't watch that. I watched the cartoon show when I was a kid.
But I'm not as familiar with Crimson Chin. Does Crimson Chin get hurt? I don't remember him ever getting hurt.
I think he has gotten hurt, but that's mostly. I think that was an episode where he actually lost his powers.
Yeah, I think there's a couple times where he's like been in trouble, and then like Timmy has to go save him.
Yeah, but it's like very specific moments. It's not really like he seems to be like the same kind of like hero as like Superman, basically. Where he's
both of them do basically.
So
I think in that case, then it might come down to the sidekicks, and the Chin sidekick is clearly going to be more viable in a fight.
Oh, for sure.
than-
Arthur's a guy who built a moth suit.
So, with that in mind, I'm going to vote for the chin. How about you guys?
I mean, it's kind of hard to argue with someone who has like Cosmo and Wanda. I know
we
that
know we
Cosmo and Wanda
specifically
is not
said
gonna.
we're not giving them that.
Yes, but they did provide a suit that provides anything he needs in that specific moment.
I mean, it does seem that way, but we'd
Oh.
have to just go by what we've actually seen him use. We can't assume that it's like fully context sensitive. So
Right.
Unless it was
man.
specified. I don't know if it was specified to be context sensitive.
Right.
Because I don't know.
That's true.
So are you leaning Crimson Chin then, Luis?
Yeah, obviously.
All right, we got 2 for Chin. Chad.
I'm kind of leaning that. I'm kind of leaning that way, but I just don't know how the tick would die.
That's okay. That's fair. That's fair.
You can't send it to space. Can't.
Right. Like,
I mean-
really have no idea how you'd kill him. So I'm just gonna say the tick for fun.
Okay. Sam, comes
I'm
down
gonna
to you.
side with Chad because I'm with the. I don't necessarily know how you kill the tick, right? Like he's kind of silly. Like he's at that jokey level of like how does that actually work? So, but I also I don't know. I just like the tick. The tick is my shit. So I don't know.
Should we
just
do
kinda
the
voted
tick
for
versus
that.
One Punch Man then? Like, is that the level we're talking about here? Like, the
I don't
nonsensical
know.
level?
We'd have to go look into it a bit.
That would be a matchup nobody would be expecting, I don't think.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Saitama
No,
versus
right now,
the tick. The match that's clearly been requested forever.
All right. Well, it looks like we've got a tie between the 4 of us, but as always, it's up to you to vote who you think should win and why. So let's go ahead and bring up the poll and see who actually wins this fight. Team Chin! Luis, virtual high five. Wait,
Yeah,
actually, we can
yeah,
do
Wait,
this.
hold
We can
on.
do this.
Oh, yeah,
We
yeah,
can
yeah.
do this.
Okay.
Opposite
okay,
side.
Here we go.
No,
Wait,
other
hold
side,
on.
other side. And
Wait.
wait, okay,
Hey,
whatever,
watch
we're
this.
good.
No.
We'll add in the sound effect later. All right, so the way Community Death Battle is going to work for the next couple weeks is it's going to tie into DBX releases that are coming up. Same rules, same thing. We'll have a poll up. You guys can vote for who you think should win and tell us why. The difference will be that the poll actually also counts toward the DBX itself. Sam, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, just if you were here last year, you remember it. If you're new, what happens is essentially, and you can find it on Twitter just a few minutes after where we put this down, there will be a link to a Google form, and it will have both combatants, and you guys get to all vote on who you think should win the fight. And then at the essentially end of the week, they'll go down around Friday. We'll take that poll. We'll look at all the votes, see who won the fight, and then that's the one that's going up on YouTube and Rooster Teeth. And then if your character didn't win, or if you're just curious what the other ending is, because we animate both endings either way, you can go to roosterteeth.com and you can check out the alternate ending there as well. So yeah, that's just kind of how it works. It's you guys get to pick the winner, and that's the one that goes up, and it's super fun.
Mm-hmm. And the first episode of season 5/2 of DBX is going to be Vegeta versus Thor, which is a matchup, a death battle matchup that has been requested a lot. So I'm very curious to see who you guys think should win and why. So let us know using hashtag DeathBattleCast why you pick your vote, and we will discuss it in the next episode of Death Battle Cast, as well as DBX airs on the 2nd.
I have to ask, does Thor start the fight with "'Tis I, bitch"? Because if not, come on, that was your opportunity. Like, it's DBX. That's the one we get to have fun with. Like,
DBX, and for that matter, yeah, DBXs don't typically have a lot of voice acting in them. So
you could have done it.
It just kind of gets to the fighting, like it just gets in there, right?
I
So,
know,
and
but
plus,
Could you
don't have to
imagine
wait a
Sam
week.
voicing Thor?
His eye,
Yeah,
bitch. Like,
Not really gonna work. Yeah,
so
I got
for
the
those
hair
that
for it
don't
these
understand
days,
what
but
I'm
it's still
talking
not gonna
about,
work.
Sam, when he's writing an episode, when he's specifically just doing the fight script, he'll write some like filler dialogue because it's mainly like, here are the important points that we need to hit in the fight, and then we'll like flesh it out. So his first version that he turned in to, I believe it was Torian at the time,
Yeah.
it's that
He
Thor
was,
starting like, so, it'd be like Thor speaks, and he put it in like, "'Tis I, bitch," So, and still it cracks me up because I just think about if we had actually done that.
That's some shit Thor would say. Well, kind of.
I don't know, man.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah.
So Vegeta versus Thor debuts June 2nd for first members, June 3rd on YouTube. Again, the alternate ending will be available to everybody on Rooster Teeth. We're very excited to jump into this new season. Ringmaster has a new design and animation. This is all going through just
It's
the
a
Rooster Teeth Direct
lot
animation
better
team.
this year.
Yeah, last year
It's an
we were all
upgrade.
on our own separate thing, like trying to make all this work. But now being part of Rooster Teeth Animation makes this a lot easier.
Oh man, yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, it feels like season 3. Feels like season 3 of DBX.
All right. Thank you all for joining us for another episode of Death Battle Cast. We will see you in the next one.
Bye.